stand up if you want.
Oh, okay.
You're good.
Shit about my bass. About my...
With a camera, it seems like it getting all that space. That's what's crazy.
Okay, but we're live.
He's bringing the camera down a little bit.
Where's your theme music, man? Hey, that theme music.
All right. So check it out, y'all. Everybody all around the world. Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter at the same time. I'm a bad boy. And I'm blind. Y'all see the way that rhyme? Now listen, one thing I can't do is dance, but I had a special request from Kimberly, who's on vacation, for me to do my goofy dance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play my opening song, and I'm going to do my goofy dance. Y'all ready? Here we go. Here you go, Eric. You ready?
Hey, man, you dance all yourself, man. I don't dance. I just do, all I do is this.
Here you
All
go.
I do is this.
Here you go.
Oh. Oh. Go.
All right, Kim, that's all you get of the goofy dance. Stop laughing at me, producers and guests. Eric can't see.
Who can
Shut
that?
up, shut up. Jim, you there?
Oh, I'm here. There's some things I'm glad I can't see.
Yeah, man.
Don't worry, you didn't miss much. I mean,
All right, Christy, I take it everybody can be heard. I'm taking the video is looking good. This is exciting for me. It's something different. It's something new. The ability to broadcast everywhere and have literally thousands of people to be able to watch a live stream all at one time with somebody on the phone, and the ability for you guys to call in as if it was a radio show. But who needs radio when you can promote your own music and take it to your own fans with no gatekeepers? And today on the show, I got two friends, and I'm going to tell you how I met each one of them real quick. So on the phone lines, we got Mr. Jim Mack.
Hello.
MECK.
That's correct.
And he has an album, and the album is titled what?
It's Along the Way.
Along the Way. The first guy
Yes.
that was blind came out in 2013 that had an album in the iTunes store. Now that's like 6 years ago, dude. It was unheard of. Blew my mind.
Yep. Time for another one.
Time for another one. Now, Fedora Outlier provides better than excellent consulting, teaching, and support of assistive technology. And we had a dream of being in every state in the United States. 27 states later, the second one to sign on was Pennsylvania. And one of our first clients was this gentleman right here. So I'm here to tell you, along with my two guests, that dreams do come true. And the relationships that you build can last a lifetime. Like I said, the first album that I seen by somebody that looked like me in the iTunes store was this gentleman right here. And I'm going to play a little snippet of one of his songs, and then we're going to get into our next guest. This is New York State of Mind done in the manner that only a Jim Mack can do it.
get away, take the holiday from the neighborhood. Hop a flight to Miami Beach on a Hollywood.
And so that's just the 1 minute snippet of the song. And as you can see, very nice voice, very nice gentleman. And leaving from Pennsylvania, he goes to the state of Washington. And actually invited me out to his wedding. It was like the first wedding invitation that I ever got. So you guys, welcome to the show, Mr. Jim Mack.
Thank you.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Yep, loving it. Beautiful day, and just loving life.
Got you. So, second story. I just met this gentleman recently, and I promise you, when you say a man of his word, a true man to music and teaching and helping people become what they want to be in life and in music, I've never met a person that is true to the essence of what it means to keep it real, if you will. An excellent musician, a good heart, a great guy. I met him through my best friend over the phone. And when I found out he was a musician and he was blind and he was local and he actually are doing or is doing the things that I want to do, I thought of nothing else but to grab his number and make sure that I kept in contact. And it's kind of amazing how things unfold because I get to open up in November for his show that he's putting on. And it's going to be an amazing experience. But you guys put your virtual hands together for Mr. Eric Epitome Smith.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you so much for having me on the show, Vashawn, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. How are you, sir?
Man, I feel like $1 million before taxes on Tuesday.
What?
Man. But for Wednesday morning, the tax man coming.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean,
It happens. It happens.
yeah. And you pay, and there you
Yeah,
have it.
that's it. That's how they go. But, it's the cost of doing business, and I don't mind.
Got you. So I'm going to play what right now is my favorite song by you and your band. And it is titled, it's the one with the storyline of the singer and the husband.
Yeah, her name is Delisa Cunningham, and the song is entitled Send a Little of My Heart.
Send a Little of My Heart.
That I can hold your hand every day, but baby I got work to do and these bills to pay. Since you can spend a whole lot of time, I'll keep a sweet part of you on my mind. I'm hoping that your day is going fine with these words to say. I'll send a little of mine, of my heart.
And so that was a snippet of what
Send a Little of My Heart.
is my favorite song right now. Send a Little of My Heart. It's all about love. And I love it. All right. So here's the deal for everybody watching, for everybody who is listening. Jim Mack is on the phone, and you know, he's almost like disabled because he can't hear the full broadcast. Eric Smith is here in the studio.
And I can't see the full broadcast.
Yeah, well, neither one of us can see. Yeah. So I'm going to ask a question about each one of the songs that we played, and then you guys can answer separate. So I'm going to start with Jim. Jim, when you was putting
Yes.
together this album, like what was your thought process? What was like your recording process? You know, kind of take us there when you were creating the album.
Well, of course, the idea started decades ago to have an album, but I didn't really have the help or mentors or money to really make it happen the way I heard my songs. So that's why the title of Along the Way, I mean, some of those are songs that I wrote 30 years ago, and others are, throughout my life. And it was kind of part of the journey of those songs, and trying to select which songs fit the album was kind of part of a process, and as well as thinking that some other songs might go better for the next album, which I'm trying to figure out how to do that. But so what really happened is that I started working more with a couple of guys, a sax player, Glenn Hoffman, and a couple of drummers like John Quire, so what we did was we went out and I billed it as Jim Mack and the Guide Dogs, because I was also kind of using it to promote the NFB chapter that I started, but it all kind of came together. But the band got tighter and tighter, and these guys ended up helping with the recording. And also, a bass player, Terry Bollinger, and a guitar player, and Jeff Lambert, and so we had a local studio, and the guy was really gracious about it. But these guys were fantastic because we went in there. They knew how important this project was to me, so I was fortunate to not have to pay session musicians, and that's a huge deal.
Right.
I had some other help as well with the artwork and stuff. My daughter actually drew the artwork for the album, but we went in the studio, but we went in already rehearsed, arrangements ready to go. We did all our practicing, did all our homework ahead of time to save money on studio time, and basically 2 sessions we laid most of the stuff, and went back in and did some touch up on things and fixing some things, but for the most part it happened really in 2 different days. That song you heard, it's a Billy Joel song, New York State of Mind. It's the only cover that's on there. We actually recorded that without the saxophone player because he had another appointment, and so we just pretended we heard him, and then he added it later. And the beauty of technology, to make all that happen. So that's kind of where the ideas were coming from. I wanted to, I finally said, I need to do something now. I don't know how long I'm going to be here on this earth, and my kids have nothing of, sort of this kind of design and this, professional arrangements. So, I mean, they have lots of other video and things like that, of, playing open mics and other gigs and stuff like that. But I wanted them to have at least this, so I'm trying to get more of it done. But let's see, the studio process kind of came about, and and through different companies where I had through disc makers and CD Baby. I mean, they were terrific help for me, and we got it done. And one day a box showed up after all my work, and I was surprised at how small the box was.
Wow. All that work.
All that work, and it came in a little box. It's like, my goodness, that seemed kind of strange. But so we did that and did a little concert to promote it all, and we just had a blast doing it, though. It was really neat. The guys were incredible. I let them, I had ideas in my head of what they should do in certain places, but the other places, I wanted them to be the musicians. I wanted this saxophone player, he knows better than I do about playing saxophone, so be the sax player.
Right.
Let the drummer be the drummer. Instead of me trying to like chart all these things out and say, here's exactly, these are the exact notes I want you to play. No, we're doing this kind of like a gig a little bit. We're doing a little bit of improv in the studio while we're putting this together, and we'll see what happens. And that's what happened.
Got you. So hold on one sec. We got Mr. Eric Smith. So Eric, same question. Your album is titled
It's entitled "The Next Boss."
The Next Man. See, that's why I love this dude.
Yeah.
Was gangster.
Yeah,
So
my wife is the boss, so she said I can be the next boss.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought it
yeah.
was like the one following, but it's like she number one
Yeah,
and you number two.
yes, that's what I was
Got you.
told. That's what I was given permission to say.
Got you. So, Jim, the name of his album is The Next Boss, not as if he's he's second. His wife is first. That's why he says next. So the same
Nice.
question for you. What was the thought process behind the album? How did you make it, and what was your thoughts once it was finally done?
Well, the reason I came up with that name also is a long time back in 2001. I met Wayman Tisdale, and phenomenal bass player. And when he and I talked, I told him I was having a few challenges on developing the style of bass playing, and I was getting frustrated. So he said, "Hey man, hang in there. It's going to all come together." So I had a copy of his CD, and I asked him to sign it for me. And so he signed the CD. Says to Eric, the next boss. And so that's how I got the name from there. And so then when I started putting together the process of the CD, I kind of incorporated the names of the songs to show that of work. For example, I got a song called Overtime. I got a song called Time and a Half. I have a song called Almost 5 O'Clock. So I had that is kind of puts in the mind of a person working to do put together a project. So that's how I had that concept together.
Got you. And when you completed the album, what was your thoughts?
There's a level of what we call stress. It's called I consider it called creative stress because I listened to everything over and over again, and a couple of songs that I had that was scheduled to go on the CD. I listened to them before it was time to send it to the final editing section, and I didn't like it. I said something was missing. So once we finished going through the rest of the process, the mixing, but right before we did the master, I listened to everything one last time, and I had 3 or 4 different people help me with the proofing on the actual CD cover, making sure that everything looked decently. I relied a lot on people's visual point of view when it came to like the album cover, when it came to the photos that we used in it, and even the storyline that I had on some of the songs. I want to make sure that that was good. And just like Jim, I use CD Baby, and I'm giving him a plug. So CD Baby, y'all owe me for that. Hey,
We
but
use CD Baby as well, Jim.
but it made it easy because once you went to CD Baby, and once you uploaded it through them, then it was able to allow all your music to be on all the digital distribution areas such as iTunes, Apple Play, Google Play, etc. But we had a big CD release party downtown, downtown Atlanta. I rented out this building, this ballroom right there at the Underground, and we had it catered. We had 20 grand was the official sponsor as far as for the drink for the evening, and the band members, we basically played the entire CD for the first set and a half. We took a break and then we came back and played a few of the original songs and played a few covers. And we gave everybody who came through the door a copy of the CD as a way of saying thanks for their support. Because we've been together as a band since 2006. And when we released the CD, it was 2014. So as a way of saying thank you to the people who supported us, we gave them all free CDs.
Man, amazing, amazing. So the whole thing is about making money, like the double bottom line. I know, music is for the soul. I know music is for the people. Music is for the enrichment of your life and others. But making money. Now, Jim, I know because I get all of his Facebook stuff, and he is performing everywhere. You would think he was Rod Stewart or somebody. So, Jim, how did you figure out? Because, you were literally doing the same thing in Pennsylvania as you're doing in Washington State. And, every weekend you're performing. How did you make it quote unquote, in the music business?
Well, yeah, I did kind of figure it out in Pennsylvania when, I mean, I really had some different phases of my music career. I mean, I played in some bands and things like that. But then I discovered that a local restaurant, they were putting an upright piano in their lounge, and so it was maybe 5-6 blocks from my home. And I thought, well, we'll see how this works. And I ended up playing there, and eventually became the house piano player for about 14 years. I was playing every weekend, just about, trying to fill in other things here and there, and it really expanded my repertoire, which really helped with the way I do things. I'm not locked into one genre, which can be good and can be bad. But, I just, after I was doing that, I really needed to, find more gigs. When that kind of ended, I started exploring more places, and I had to figure it out. So I kind of went through the newspaper and the entertainment section and found places that were booking music, because that way I didn't have to convince them to have music. And then because at that point, I had kids and everything, and I just didn't feel like playing really late gigs, so I started eliminating the places I didn't want to play, and I started making spreadsheets and prioritizing where I wanted to play. But it was a constant contacting even places that I regularly played, and even to get booked back again, even though they thought it was all great and stuff. But if you're not right in their face, they're going to forget about you. And I discovered that one time because I looked at my schedule and I thought, well, I'm doing pretty good, so I can kind of relax a little bit. And next thing, nothing was coming in, and I had 3 months where I barely had anything. And I said, I am not going to do that again. I need to keep pedal to the metal all the time. And that's what I had to do, because that was my only income at the time. I was also a church musician, so I was doing the Thursday, Friday, Saturday night stuff, Sunday morning church, Sunday afternoon gigs. But I had to keep that calendar just constantly full, because that was how I was trying to, pay my bills,
Right.
quite frankly. And you're right. I mean, it is a love, but yeah, I mean, you have to eat. So, that's kind of was a big thing. Now, when I came out here, I'm not doing it like I was back there. I don't need to as much. And it's more relaxed. So I'm getting to do it, and it's much more a joy, although I'm doing quite a bit. But my wife, that we only got married 2 years ago, and she's from out here, so I moved out here. And we started going to some open mics and just getting to meet musicians, and then started making contacts and working with other musicians and getting some credibility and starting to get some bookings. And yeah, so it's been fun. It's not real lucrative at this point, but I'm still playing, and I'm still able to pay some bills, and I'm having fun. The music scene out here is ridiculous. Every night there's stuff, and jams and open mics. I've been to blues jams. I just got the jam with a guitar player by the name of Jerry Miller, who was a founding member of Moby Grape from back in the 60s. And he's number 68 on Rolling Stone all-time greatest guitar player list. He was a mentor to Led Zeppelin. He was friends of Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton and the Doors and B.B. King and all these guys. And now he's doing a jam.
Wow.
and we're having a blast together. And he even let me play his guitar named Beulah, which apparently was played by Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton, among others. So that was kind of fun. I didn't play it at the set. I just kind of played it before we started jamming. But yeah, and there was another jam. There's a guy that played with the Ventures, and so this is a music town. It's kind of sort of, I mean, it's not maybe Seattle, but it's up and coming as a big part of that, and out, sort of outskirts of Seattle. And yeah, it's amazing. And the musicians are just absolutely terrific. They're just really nice and helpful, and we made a lot of friends.
Got you. So Eric, the same question. You I mean, you put together like your own shows and full, what, 5, 6 piece band. I mean, this dude had like a lead singer and a backup singer. I'm like, wow, a guitar player. He plays the bass, keyboard player, saxophonist. I mean, like the full Monty. So, how do you do it? How do you make money from this passion of music?
Well, for one, I'm gonna charge you for this interview, so that's gonna be the start.
Okay,
All right,
$3,
so
got you.
yeah, I got it. That's right. And but when I started doing music, I started off at Georgia State in the jazz combo, and when the semester ended, I told some of the guys I was working with, "Hey, let's keep this thing going." And the places around the area, they only wanted to pay just a few $100s for a band. But when you have a 4 piece and a 5 piece band, $300 is not going to cut it.
Right.
Especially when it cost $50 at the time, gas was high. So you putting $50 to $60 in your gas tank. So after I saw that it was hard to find places that were willing to pay for a full band, I started to promote and put on my own shows. I did a show one evening at this event, and just to show the people that I was serious, I had told all the people that we invited to the show to wear red and black. We had 714 people show up, and they only wanted to pay the band $600. But yet they charged everybody $7 at the door. And from there, I said, you know what? I'm going to eliminate the middleman. And so I started finding venues that I would save my money up, and I would rent the place out, and I would put a cover charge at the door, and I would either try to hire the bartender. If it's a place that I can have that allow me to bring in food, I would do that. And so it became, I had fun doing it that way. Not just being on stage, but actually putting together the whole show, the whole promotion, production, etc. The day of the show, I'm able to just focus on the music because I have such a strong team with my assistants who help me out, aka Gypsy. Hey, she always has my back when we do shows. Even my wife, sometimes I try to get her to sit down at some of the shows just to enjoy the show, but sometimes she's also helping make sure that the guests are satisfied. And the reason why I do it that way is because I ask myself, if I was in the audience, what do I want? What would I like to see? How would I like to be treated if I'm going to a show? And I try to provide that for the people who come out to the show, not only just what they're hearing from the stage, because anybody can turn on a seat and listen to a song, but to go to a show and see a performance and to enjoy it and know that you are going to be entertained by what's going on the stage, and you receive A1 customer service is what I aim for. And there's been some times where I've done some shows, I've only had 30 people show up. That's happened twice. And so I had to revamp my game plan and make sure that I put a lot of time into the marketing, working on building up my clientele list as far as people who follow on social media, my Evite, just getting the word out. And now we up to, when I do a show, I generally contact up to 2,500 to 3,000 people alone in the surrounding metro area.
Okay.
Just to let them know that a show was going on. And so that kind of helps. So some of the shows, they've sold out. The last few shows have sold out in the metro area. So I'm just grateful for those who have continued to support the Epitome Show Band movement.
Got you. So what would you guys tell a person, whether they're old or young, that want to do what you guys are doing, perform, master your craft, get out there and make it happen? Let's start with you, Jim. What would you tell somebody?
Run away.
Besides, don't do it.
No. Well, I mean, you first have to have chops, and that's a big thing. But everybody has a different niche that they can fill out there. So you can do what you do and not necessarily what everybody else is doing. Or you can, let's face it, we kind of copy a little bit and mimic some of the artists that we enjoy and use some of those things. And just, I guess, go out and try to do what you do, but remember that it's a business. It's, so, professionalism is really key, because every gig you have is an interview for the next gig, even at the place where you're playing. So if you mess up your interview, you're not going to play again. I mean, there might be somebody there in the crowd that might be a key to the next step. So you want to approach each gig with professionalism and treat people well, and just promote. I mean, it's like 95% marketing stuff. I mean, my stuff isn't perfect, and it doesn't have to be. It's are you going to be an entertainer, or are you going to be a studio musician or a concert musician? There's different varieties of that. I'm not going to be the concert musician. Besides, it terrifies me. I prefer audiences that are maybe having a few beverages at the same time, but I do play some concert stuff. But it's, you never know who's there. And you just treat everybody with respect that you meet. Not just that because they might, serve purpose for you, because that's, again, selfish, but just, treat people well and allow it to happen. When you have opportunities, let it happen. I mean, I wouldn't be out here in Washington State if I didn't open up and just let life, the universe, whatever you want to call it, put things in order for me and allow me to realize, this whole life that I have. And that's the absolute truth. I mean, I tried to control it long enough, and I finally said, you know what? I can't control this. So, let it happen, but be smart about the business end of it and keep all your ducks in a row, and promote and network. And I think that's the biggest key. It's a lot of work. I mean, the 3 hours you play in a night is the easiest part of it. But be prepared, and be prepared to have some heartache and disappointment, and just keep trucking, keep your head up high, and just walk right through all the troubles and get up on that stage and do your thing.
Got you. And so, Eric, you mentor a lot of musicians, and I know you got something insightful to say with the perspective of what do you tell a person that says, hey, I want to do that?
One is, like Jim said, is having a level of professionalism, and you cannot be thin-skinned. Not everyone's going to like everything, and not everyone's going to like what you do. But there are people who will love what you do. But the thing is, you have to make sure you love it, because if you don't love it, you can't expect somebody else to like it or love it. Remaining true to the game, and also having some flexibility, and not being afraid to try a different audience every now and then. And when you're putting together your music, just make sure that whatever you put out, whether it's going to be in the studio, whether you're performing, make sure it's quality. Don't just do a piss poor job on putting together something just because you have to. If it's not the right time, be patient and get yourself together so that when the time is right for you to be out there, and when opportunity presents itself, you make sure that your product is quality product when it's out there.
Got you. So you guys get ready. We're gonna take calls. This will be the part of the where both Jim and Eric can hear each other. I need to do some more configuring, something I didn't even think about. So yeah, but let me get the number, because I don't even know like my own show number.
I got the number for you. Ready to tell you?
He got the number. What's the number?
The number is 678 846 6822.
6822.
It's right there on the bottom of the screen, right.
It's right there on the bottom of the screen, right there. He thinks because he's blind.
It looks like it.
It's on the screen somewhere. I promise you. 678.
Yeah.
846
6822. 6822.
Operators are standing by.
Christy is standing by. So yeah. All right. So both of you guys have CDs out. I'm working on my CD, The Treble Clef of Love, 5 songs. It's going to be, as I say, amazing. What would be your advice for recording a CD and putting it out in 2019? Let's start with you, Jim.
I'm actually trying to figure out the same thing because my last experience with the album. I mean, it's hard to make money doing that, but people like tangible things as well as downloads. But a lot of people, they don't even have a CD player anymore. So it's really changing. And I mean, I think it's just a matter of do it in whatever format, but multiple formats if you can. Use some of the services that are available, like we did with like CD Baby, and they've been really helpful. I mean, I'm sure there's others out there that people have experienced, but we have to explore how the music industry is changing. It used to be that you'd record an album, then you'd go on concert to sell the album. Now it's people are giving their music away to try to drive people to their shows. So it's a little bit backwards, but yeah, I mean, do something that when you look at it later on, you go, yeah, that was a fun project, and that really ended up the way I wanted it for me, and I hope other people enjoy it.
Got you. And what about you, Eric? What would you say?
It goes back to the area I say being flexible, having your music in multiple arenas, looking at it for maybe television commercials, scoring for movies, sound bites, video games, ringtones. I know, do people still use ringtones anymore? I think yeah, it was still, but having it available in multiple platforms to show that your music is, is once again, it's a representation of what you want to have out there, and the more places that people get a chance to hear it, and I'm not talking about just in the United States. I'm talking other countries. Be willing to.
Hold on, you talking about the whole world, Craig?
I'm talking about it's new place to plus. You got to go worldwide. And not afraid to let it come out of the country, because other countries and other cultures, they would appreciate the music that we do, just like we appreciate listening to other music from other countries as well.
Got you. So, Christian, do we got anybody on the line? And while we're waiting on Christy, Eric, I want you to think of a question to ask Jim, and Jim, I want you to think of a question to ask Eric, and then I'm going to translate.
Hey, all right, well, I got my question ready for Jim.
Wow.
All right, my question for Jim is 2020.
His question for Jim, 2020.
You're going to need somebody to play bass with one of your shows. I'm your man.
You're going to need someone to play bass in one of your shows, and he is the man. That's a statement, sir. That's not a question.
That is a statement. That's not a question. I would say yes. That is true.
He said yes, that's
well,
true.
The question is, can I get your contact info so I can come to Washington?
He said the question is, can he get your contact info so he can come to Washington?
Absolutely. I'm sure we can swap that contact info. I mean, my website is www.jimmeck.com, JIMMECK.com, and my email address is jim@jimmeck.com. So anybody can contact me that way.
There you go. See? Promotion.
That's right.
Oh, I told you.
All right, Jim. What would be your question for Eric?
Who are your major musical influences?
Oh, Lord.
I just saw my favorite bass player this past Thursday, which is Marcus Miller.
His favorite bass player this past Thursday, which is Marcus Miller.
But when it comes to performers, I saw Prince 3 times.
He saw Prince 3 times. Oh, you can hear him?
And let's see, who else is there? I love artists that put on a show. Earth, Wind, and Fire, Isley Brothers, Billy Joel. They Sade, Maxwell. They have not just who the front person is on singing, but the whole presentation of the show, the band, the lighting, the venue. That is what influences me. I go to a show like that, I come home and say, how can I do one of my shows like that?
Got you. So basically the professionalism of his artists that he is watching, and he takes that inspiration from what they're doing and say, how can he do it so that he can be just like them and better.
Cool.
That's what he said. Christy, Where you at?
So Sean, I'm here, and I have Jajesh from India on the waiting to speak to you guys.
All right. Send them through.
All right.
Welcome, Kesa. Hey.
Hi, good evening.
What's up, Jidges?
Hi.
Can I tell them a story
Hi.
real quick?
First of all,
Jidges, hold on, because,
sure.
people don't be believing me, but when I tell you, you have a global company. Probably my third global client. I had my first one in Australia, the second one in Japan, and then India with Jidges. And he's been a client of Fedora for, I know, 3.5 years, and he's in India. So I know he has something great to say. So what's your question, Jidges?
So, first of all, let me use this golden opportunity to congratulate Vashan for hosting a global show for the community to spread knowledge and enthusiasm, those who prefer music.
Thank you.
So, I
Yeah,
have.
awesome.
So, I really appreciate both of you for your outstanding and substantial contribution in the field of music.
Thank you.
So I have questions to Jim first. So Jim, did you do any? Did you have any educational background in music?
I mostly had lessons from local people, generally people who at the time were labeled as, I guess, housewives, but they were doing it like a little side thing. But and eventually I had a little bit of jazz theory from a guy for a while, and then not a whole lot of background until I lost my job in 2001, and I got the opportunity to go back to college, actually for the first time to a regular college, and I earned my music education degree in 2006. And so that really kind of helped with the things I already knew about music, but it also put it into a different perspective. So, I could also teach, but not just music, but kind of teach anything. And that's, basically the extra background I had was just playing a lot and listening to a lot of music and trying to get all those things down. I think because, music's an audio thing. So listening to other musicians, I think, is absolutely key, more so than to having somebody stand in front of a classroom and talk about music. It's talking about music is like dancing about architecture, I think Thelonious Monk said.
Thank you. And what are the assistive technology you are using for becoming a successful musician?
Well, the technology I'm using has changed over the last several years because I have retinitis pigmentosa, so it was a gradual sight loss, but now it's pretty much everything is screen reader stuff. And of course, I have my handy MacBook, which is actually my second one, but thanks to Fedora Outlier and my training, I was able to actually use that when I started having trouble, like when Zoom didn't work anymore, and so I had to get away from the mouse, and all that stuff wasn't doing its thing, so I had to go to VoiceOver. So that's really my main thing is using my MacBook, my iPhone. I just got a Braille display, so I'm trying to figure that out. But yeah, all those things are really helpful. It gets a little frustrating sometimes though, because as updates happen, things become barriers. And because it seems like not every update is fully tested for accessibility. So those moments of not knowing if tomorrow I'm going to be able to promote this gig on Facebook, can I create an event? Because I've been having trouble with that. That makes it really difficult. I mean, I'm fortunate that my wife helps me, but, we really want to do this ourselves. We like the help, but we want to at least be able to do it ourselves. But my best success has been through my MacBook and my iPhone.
Got you. So,
Thank you. I really appreciate.
yep.
And okay. And is there any blind musician work in your team?
Yep. So I'm
In
gonna
in mine,
disconnect.
actually, I do have a drummer who is blind.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. I really appreciate. There will be so many people to ask questions. So thank you very much for
Yep.
everybody.
You know how to reach out, Judges. I appreciate it. All right, Chrissy. So while you queue up
Okay.
the next potential
Take care, Judges.
person, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play another song by my boy Mr. Eric Smith, and this one is called Glock.
K like K.
K like, huh?
K like K.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Voiceover pronounces it.
Yes,
Glock.
voiceover pronounces it Glock, but it's
But it's K like
K like K. It's
All right.
it's Puerto Rican for
It's Puerto
what it
Rican
do.
for what it do.
What it do.
All right, so Jim, you can't hear this, but we're gonna play K like K. Voiceover. I was like, boy, he is gangster. He gonna be the next boss for real. Here we go. You see the way it come on is gang. What?
Mm-hmm.
And there you have it.
K like K,
ladies.
senor.
Que la que, señor. Sí, muchacha español. Nombre de enero. And if you don't know what I said,
Do you know what you said?
I don't know what I said either.
You said something about some money.
Oh, you can read
Dinero.
my chat? What?
Yeah, oh yeah. Hablas español en todos los días en Domingo.
Karen, I got you. I got you. Wow. Cool. So, Christy, who else do we got? Do we got anybody?
We don't have anybody on hold right now.
Okay, we don't have anybody on hold. All right, so cool. We got the switch swaps of the questions out. We got about 10 more minutes. Is there anything, Jim, that I did not ask you that you definitely wanted to get out? You got any performances coming up?
I mean, I just have a couple local things happening. We're actually heading to Pennsylvania for a week. We're going to hang out at some open mic stuff at the famous Bowers Hotel in Pennsylvania, and on Tuesday night, and go see my sax player from back there. He's performing with his wife Debbie and their son-in-law Jeff Halbert. So they're the Glenn Hoffman Trio, Dolcetto, the Glenn Hoffman Trio, and they're playing in Emmaus at the House and Barn Friday night. So we're going to go check them out and probably sit in for a little bit. But and a lot of it is going back to see my mom, my kids, my granddaughter. I have a new baby granddaughter, first one, and she's being baptized next week. So that's kind of what we're doing there, and then we'll come back west and keep working at the, doing what we're doing and booking more stuff. Dawson's here in Tacoma coming up, Vinifera Wine Bar in Auburn, and Sorcy's in Sumner. All those good places are I kind of making the rounds. So that's what I'll be doing when I get back. But I'm going to go enjoy a week with my family.
Got you. Yeah, I've been trying to get to the Poconos, like, literally since I moved to Georgia for like 23 years. And so one day, it was that Champagne jacuzzi,
Oh.
Yeah, it's like in the middle, like when you walk in, it's like the
bathtub,
bottom of the
staircase.
stem then it goes up, and then the whole upstairs is surrounding the top of a martini glass. I'm like, man, that is so hot.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got
Well,
to get
you
there.
have to stop on your way up there in Hamburg and go to Cigars International. I used to play there. It's a giant building that we used to play.
Yeah. Cigars International is great. Definitely so. Definitely so. All right, Mr. Eric
But it
Smith.
was, yeah.
What was you saying, Jim?
Oh, I just meant I used to play a lot in Allentown at Louis, and it's an Italian restaurant, of course, which fills in with my, Billy Joel is my guy, and the scenes from an Italian restaurant. So, and also that it was in Allentown, so that all kind of fit in there. So we're gonna try to catch up with some folks in a hurry back there.
Got you. Okay, Eric. Same thing. Anything that I didn't ask that you really wanted to get out?
Well, we briefly alluded to the show in November. We're doing a Royal Extravaganza, which you're one of the opening acts for the show, followed by this amazing violinist named Chad Thomas. We're doing the thing where the event is to dress the occasion. So we're going to have artists with their paintings set up. We're going to have a DJ. We're going to have heavy hors d'oeuvres, cocktails. We're going to have it so that the whole experience is going to be a night. Now, it's not just you going to hear music. You're going to hear. It's going to take care of everything for you for that evening. And then we're taking $5 off each ticket sale, and we're donating it to charity. And the two charities that we have selected is the National Federation of the Blind and also the Center for the Visually Impaired. So those are two charities that we're going to be donating to this year. And also, just to let you know, I am in the process of putting together things for my second CD, which is entitled The Chairman of the Board. I got promoted. Still not the boss, but I'm the chairman of the board.
You're the chairman of the board.
Yes, so I met with the producer 2 weeks ago. We came up with the name of our songs, some of the concept for at least the first single. We're going to be working on that over the next few weeks as well.
All right, 7:52. So let me tell you what I have going on. Let me see. So, is Fedora releasing any new products? Absolutely. We'll be releasing new products as soon as Apple gives us the go-ahead on all the announcements that they're going to make in September, so look out for that. My new single should be out in September. I got to find a mastering engineer, and it's titled In Love with Love. It is Kafira Nicole, Giorgio Vickers on vocals, male and female, and myself, Mr. Vashawn Jones, on soprano sax.
Eric on bass.
Eric, actually, that would be a bass song. I'll let him hear it. I give him because he's critical, man. Eric is critical of music. Yeah, he's real critical of music. And then we will be opening up for the Royal Extravaganza November 2nd. Doors open at 6 p.m.
Correct.
6 p.m. Show starts promptly at 7. It is a formal event, so, bring your best. Tickets will sell out. That's not marketing or sales. That's just how my man does things.
That's right. And it is at epitomyshowband.com.
And it is epitomyshowband.com. He was about to spell it. Go ahead and
yes,
spell it.
EPITOMESHOWBAND.com. Or you can hit us up through our social media. Eric Epitome Smith, the Epitome Show Band, and also Ricky Smith Show. Those are all on social media. You can hit me up directly, and I generally return phone calls within 24 hours. If it's international, then I got to email you because
Right. And I thought I was doing my announcements. I gave him all the opportunity to get his announcements.
Got it in. Hey, bro.
You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Okay. And I'm sorry, Jim. I'm just talking, and you're not even hearing him while he's rattling off Epitome Show Band and 8 p.m. doors.
You got to seize every opportunity.
Hey, man, I know
absolutely.
It. And so the colors are.
Hey, I threw my name on a review on a music equipment website on a keyboard that I had gotten. And so I wrote a review, and because they're kind of anonymous reviews, so I threw out my name and album on that because it was free. Anybody that looks up that keyboard would see my review and hopefully see my name and Google me.
Hey, you got
there's
to
there's
get in when you can get
there's
in.
very inexpensive ways to market,
Got you. So,
and we need to
Christy,
do that because we're musicians.
yeah, absolutely. What keyboard is it?
It's Kurzweil PC1X. I've had it for a lot of years. Almost 20 years. I went and actually bought a second one when I moved out here on eBay, and I dumped the sysx files, all the internal memory stuff over, because if this one goes, I'm never going to be able to program it again because I can't see the screen anymore. So that's a very big problem for keyboards, for programming things. To try to explain to somebody else what I want in that program would be a nightmare. So I said, I need to buy a used one, dump the memory. Now I have a backup keyboard. And by the time both of these go, I'm probably not going to be hauling it around anymore.
Get you that key station. What is it? The S88?
That's too big to haul
What's that?
around.
No, it's a
That's too-
PC1X. Kurzweil PC1X.
No, but I said get you the
Oh,
yeah, Native Instruments, 100% accessible. It's amazing.
oh.
Yeah, the key station.
Well,
And they got the 25, the 49, the whatever, the 88, all that. But yeah, cool. So Christy, there should be some people on hold.
We do have Karen or KB on hold right now.
That's both.
I can bring her over
Yep.
and
bring
give
her
you the
up.
host room. We do have Karen or KB on hold right
What's up, Karen?
Good evening, guys. Great show. I've been enjoying the information that have been discussed on your show. I guess I'll be the last question of the evening. I'm not sure.
Yep.
But my question is, I am aspiring to create my own band, and I wanted to get some tidbits on how to create a band. How do you actually, compensate players? Would you start with, college students or professional band members? What are some of your suggestions in a person who wants to create their own band?
Well, I'm going to go first. You got a saxophone player right here and a bass player right there. So you just hire us. So that's two of your worries out the way. And let's start with Jim. What would you say about hiring a band? And
Dating.
Well, make sure you find happy people. First of all, I mean, because it can be really tough because personalities can really be an issue, and some of the greatest players in the world are some of the most miserable to work with.
Yes.
So that's an important thing, and I think knowing what your goals are, and at least starting out, I mean, it may not be perfectly what you want, at first, it's easier to compensate people who are hungry, because it's really hard to really find out what the market holds for how much you have to pay people, because a lot of it depends on what establishments are going to pay. And then you end up with, a small amount. I mean, I generally try to make sure I get what I need. And I mean, years ago I was in the organization that they kind of had a standard idea that the leader would get double what the others got. I don't know if that's still, I mean, it's at least a reference. But, the musicians have to be happy with what they're getting, so they stick around. I mean, but you also are trying to, make some money. I guess it depends if your first goal is to, I mean, you're going to have to give it away basically for a little while. I think to get noticed but don't fall into the trap of a million exposure jobs, because you can get paid to have exposure. So, don't fall into that trap, but yeah, find some happy people that you like to work with, and people that have the same kind of style that you're interested in. Get out to open mics and things like that, and find people that are just looking to do, what you're doing.
Absolutely. That sounds great. So basically, in reference to compensating band members, is it based upon, the individual communication of what they're willing to pay to be a part of a band, or you're not sure if there's like a marginal area to charge each piece? I know sometimes you may have like you said, a band leader who kind of oversees the whole band, where you just said some people feel that they would get double of what everyone else pays. So I was just wondering, how does that work in the industry? Is it just based upon, the one-on-one conversations, this is what I'm willing to pay to be a part of your band, and, have that discussion, or is there just a, hey, this is what everybody's going to get paid starting out, we want to commit forward?
Every gig and every musician is a negotiation. I mean, that's the bottom line. And it depends. I mean, if you have a booking agent to do things like that, or a manager, there's gonna be things like that. So it all depends on what level of music you're looking at doing, and you can find others that are doing a similar thing and network with them and see what how they approach it in your area, because each area is a little bit different as well with how much they're paying musicians and what the establishments are, or if you're doing a concert. So it all depends on the venues and things like that, but everything is negotiable. So it's a matter of who's willing to do it for what you can afford, and do it to the standards that you expect.
What do you
Absolutely.
say?
Have any?
Oh, well, a lot of what I have to say.
Eric?
Yes. Hey, good evening, Karen. Thank you for calling.
Eric,
Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3.
is he there? I can't hear him.
1, 2, 3. There you go. Is my mic? Is that better?
Hello?
Karen, can you hear me now?
Is Eric there? I can't hear him.
Tell her that I hear her, but she cannot hear me. I'm talking. I feel like I'm doing a
I can see him, but I can't hear
Hey,
him.
Karen, I'm talking to you. I'm smiling. Hey.
I'm at the bottom of the screen. I can't hear him.
Right.
I'm talking, but I guess she can't hear me at the present time.
Maybe I should hang up to hear him.
No, it's fine. So just say it and I'll translate, Eric.
The biggest thing too is, as Jim said, is having musicians that's willing to have the same goal or objective in mind.
Having musicians that have the same goal or objective in mind.
And the old school saying is, you can follow or you can lead.
You can follow or you can lead.
But you can't do both at the same
You can't
time.
do both at the same time.
So looking for good team players.
Looking for good team players.
Good communication.
Good communication.
And as Jim said, everything's negotiable. If a person puts the money before the music, you don't want them.
Everything is negotiable, and if the person puts the money before the music, then you don't want them.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so every gig, if you was performing at the
Fox Theater.
Your musicians will get paid more than if they're performing at, a restaurant.
McDonald's.
Right.
He said McDonald's. That boy is crazy.
Vauchon's watering hole.
Right. Hey, I pay good, buddy. All right, cool. Well, Karen, look forward to our interview on Wednesday. And guess what? 2 things we're not going to have. We're not going to have you sing my text, one, and we're going to make everything large and in charge. I appreciate both of you guys for being on. Thanks to Christy, and thanks to Trevon working the cameras. And Eric, you would like to thank?
I want to thank first, guys. Thanks my moms, my wife, my daughter, my assistant here who's here with me tonight, Gypsy Nichols. She always makes sure she handles, and she does a great job on. If you see things on social media, that she makes sure it looks right, and she gives the okay on a lot of times before it goes out. So thanks, and to all the people who supported the Epitome Show Band, thank you for your support for over the years. I am so grateful. And also thank you for Sean for having me here tonight on Fedora Outlier.
Hey, man, sounds like a plan. Jim, if you like, you can hang up. But you know what I always say at the end of everything?
Well, I want to.
Oh, good. Oh,
Yeah, I want to thank you guys
You got to
too.
thank somebody. Go ahead.
Yeah. I want to thank, of course, my wife Kimberly, and all my kids, and for their support, my mom, and everything. But also to you, Sean, and the Fedora Outlier team for your training and things like that allowed me to have access to keep doing the things I love to do, and to be able to post things on, places like my Facebook page, Jim Meck Musician, and my website, www.jimmeck.com. Right? Your promotion. You got it.
Go.
So, but thanks to you guys that I can keep doing this. And I'm not sitting in the corner listening to talking books all day.
Man, I know that's right. Well, listen. What I always say is let's change the world, and let's change the world together. The cardinal word in that phrase is change. It don't mean stay the same, baby. So listen, we just completed a broadcast that's going all over the world, which y'all see in my text messages, and it's a little bit small, but we go correct it the next time, make it bigger and better. See you guys on Wednesday. Guess who we gonna go out with? We're gonna go out with the dude from Rocky. Listen, here you go. Hold on. I'm on the wrong program.
Wrong button. There you go.
Cheers.
Hold on. There you go.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
How do we try to get her to say clear? Are we clear?